everyone, I hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining me in my sewing room today as I begin my next large project, which is making my husband and I medieval outfits. I have not really done anything medieval before. I've done some like fantasy medieval things, but this time I'm trying to do a best that we know today of what medieval people wore. There's really not a lot of surviving garments, like at all. There's fragments of them, and there's a lot of really interesting portraits, tapestries, and depictions that show us what people would have worn. So we try to put that together as historians and costumers the best that we can. There are also some really great videos on YouTube that I've been watching, and I'll link those below in case you're also interested in watching them, because they have greatly influenced what I'm going to do today, and I want to make sure that I give them credit for all of the wonderful research and knowledge that they help put out onto the internet, which has benefited me and will also hopefully benefit you. So I am going to be working on first the under tunic for my husband, then the outer tunic, and I'll make my under tunic and outer tunic. It should pretty much be the same thing. I'm not using a pattern. I'm going to draft it myself for all of that. And yeah, I'm going to start with the under tunic, and then if that works, then I'll go to the outer tunic, because the under tunic I'm going to be making out of this linen, and then the outer tunics will be made out of wool. Are you done plundering for a moment? I need to measure you. And then your knees are so long. Actually, it's like 45.
I didn't have it when you let go. You put my hand here.
There you go. Oh, actually, it's more like a. Here's your knee. It's like 40. 41. And then I have to add like seam allowance, so I'll do like a 42. Alright. Thank you.
Happy to be of assistance.
For this project, I will be using an unbleached linen for the under tunic. My mom is an absolutely amazing thrifter, and she found 2 bolts of unbleached linen at a thrift store for $10 a piece. Truly amazing. As a guide for these tunics, I will be using a t-shirt. Sometimes these styles of tunics are referred to as quote-unquote T-Tunics. That is not a historical name, but some people in modern life refer to them as this. So you can kind of think of these tunics as longer t-shirts with a fuller skirt. My 45-inch fabric is the perfect width, so I will not need to alter the width. I then used the measurement from my husband's shoulder to knee to give me the length of the tunic. I pinned everywhere that I would need to cut out, and then, well, I cut it. This creates a front piece and a back piece that I then pressed flat. Linen is so hard to work with, it wrinkles if you look at it the wrong way. So I tried my best to keep it not wrinkled, but alas, what can one do? I then attached the front piece to the back piece, pinning the shoulders and the side seams, but I tried to leave room for the sleeves and the gussets and the gores. So it was really only a very small piece of the side that I actually pinned and then sewed. And of course you can see that I am using a t-shirt as a guide here as well, which I just like having a little bit of a visual instead of just measurements. I did the exact same thing for the outer tunic, which I made out of a gray wool. It is actually the same gray wool that I used for my bustled engagement dress and for my Beth March dress, and then I still had enough to make a tunic for my husband, but like just barely. I squeezed it out. I did that the exact same, so I'm not going to show you how I did that because it's the exact same of how I made the under tunic. Of course, everything in the Middle Ages would have been hand stitched, but I decided that if the seams did not show, I was going to use my machine. Also, my time frame for this tunic is about 1200 to 1250.
All right, so what do you think of your tunic so far?
It's very like light and breezy.
It almost looks like you're wearing a potato sack.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, I have a nice little dress on. But no, it doesn't feel normal in the shoulders. But I think
that's because I cut them square instead of slanted like we normally modern have.
Well, that's what I thought I was going to say. I think it's because my normal cut of shirt is also like a looser material, where like linen is really nice, but it's a little bit firmer. So like this top part's just a little bit like pokier, but like it feels good. It's just different than what I'm used to. But I feel like once I belt it up, I'm going to look awesome.
All right, now where is your waist?
Here. Depends on where you want waist. Belly button?
No, where you bend is your waist. So where you bend over.
Where?
Right there? No, don't do that. Okay. No, point to your waist. Okay, thank you.
I then marked where the gores needed to go on the center front and the center back of the tunic, and I seam ripped the side seams so that they would be at the appropriate height, which is at the natural waistline. We also had a discussion about where the natural waistline actually is. And if you don't know, it is about 3 inches above your belly button where you bend. So just try bending over. Don't bend from your waist. Just see where your torso bends. And then that is your natural waistline. I also took a measurement for the sleeve from the top of the shoulder all the way to the wrist, and that is how long his sleeves are going to be, which I still need to cut out. I marked where I was going to need to cut the center front and the center back to insert the gores. I am then going to calculate and cut out my gores. Now, if you are not sure, a gore is a triangular piece of fabric that is used in shaping the garment that you're going to make. Gore, in this case, is going to be used to flare out the skirt. So we are going to have the widest point of the triangle at the bottom and the tiniest point at the top. I'm going to use the whole width of my fabric, and then I use the measurement from, well, my husband's natural waistline to the hem of the tunic to calculate how long the triangle needed to be. And then I just kind of eyeballed with my sewing measuring tape exactly where the angles for the gore were going to be. I then sewed in the gores with my sewing machine, and then I stitched the sleeves together, one seam on each side. The sleeves, I drafted the sleeve pattern by using the length that I got from my husband's shoulder to wrist, and then I used the width of the t-shirt sleeve, which I think was about 10 inches. But of course, in about 12 to 12.50, the sleeves were not just tubes of fabric, there was actually a little bit of shaping to them. So I took the measurement of the widest part of his hand, and then that became the end of my sleeve measurement. And then I, again, used my sewing measuring tape to create an angle that brought the sleeve into where the gusset was. I have a whole nother video about inserting a gusset. I didn't go into that here. I will go into that in my next video about making a smock for me, and also I'll link that video below.
Now comes the part that I've been dreading slightly, which is hand finishing all of this. It's been going so fast and so nice up until this point, and now I fear it's going to take some time. But I really want to make sure it has hand finishes, because right now all the seams that I've sewn are hidden. They're on the inside, so no one knows what they look like, and they generally have no effect on the outside. For all that is known, I could just be really great at sewing really small, tiny back stitches, which honestly, if you look at some garments, you have to look like really close at some that are like really well sewn, because they are so fine and so regulated that they almost look like a sewing machine did them. But yeah, let's see how long this takes. Cross your fingers and hope that doesn't take too long.
I regret to inform you, Marie, from the past, but it did indeed take a long time to hand finish all of these seams. Now, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone else who has posted videos about making this type of tunic on the YouTubes. I will link below some of the ones that I used while I was creating this garment so that you can also check them out. I also wanted to just point out that this is my first time venturing into medieval at all, and I have a lot to learn, of course, but I'm really excited about this new time period and learning more about medieval and Renaissance fashion, and I will learn and share with you along the way as I learn. If you have any favorite medieval outfit or Renaissance outfit that you would be interested in learning more about, or you think would look really good on me and I should make, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear that. Now, as with most things, I was on a pretty big time crunch when making these medieval outfits for a homeschool day at the history center that I work at, and therefore I didn't have time to make everything that my husband needed for this event. So I made his 2 tunics and then I bought the rest. And I'll show you that it's from a really cool place. Nothing is sponsored though.
Alright, so I ordered some medieval accessories from the company called Medieval Collectibles because I am trying to remind myself that I do not have to make everything sometimes. Buying from vendors is the best option and keeps you the most sane. Let's see what I got. I mean, I know what I got, but seeing it online and seeing it in real time can be very different. Well packaged. Alright. Ooh, alright, so I got these, which are the little ties. Yes, pointed brass tip tie strings in off-white. Good, good. Up next, we have medieval women's stockings in green, which are essentially hose. Oh, and they even come. I didn't know if they were going to come with the little ties, the little linen strips to tie them up, but they do. Oh, that's so nice. I thought I was going to have to use my own. Very nice, very nice. Alright, and then here we have medieval armoring cap in large. Awesome. Also got, ooh yeah, so these are for my husband. These are the wool Chaucer's Burnful in red. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then this should, ooh yes. And then this is the Knight's Medieval Hood in charcoal. Alright, well, let's open this one up first. Ooh, it smells new. And like wool. Ooh. How does this look?
So this is what it all looks like put together. I was really happy with the final result, and I think my husband was very happy as well. Look at that swish. It's fantastic. I also made him a pair of braids, which is like medieval underwear, but sadly I lost all of that footage, so I sadly will not have a video on that. But I will have videos coming up about making myself a medieval smock and a medieval tunic and head covering, so be sure to subscribe and stick around for that. Thanks for watching.